everybody, and welcome to Inside Number 23, my podcast which is all about knitting and sewing and living the craftiest life in general. And welcome. I've had 2 weeks off and I am so excited to be back with you guys. In case you don't know, my name is Katie. I am coming to you as always from Hertfordshire, which is just north of London in the UK, where I live with my lovely husband Emrys and our gorgeous pug puppy Rolly. You can find me on all the various social medias as Miss Lavelli. I am most active on Instagram, but you can also find me on Ravelry and Periscope. And we also have a Ravelry group for the podcast, which you can find just by searching Inside Number 23 in the groups tab on Ravelry. And yes, like I said, welcome, a huge welcome to anyone who's watching for the first time. My subscriber count has gone up quite significantly recently, so I know that there are some new viewers out there. Hello. And obviously huge amounts of love to all of my long-term viewers as well. It's so good to be back with you. I took last week off podcasting because it was both mine and Emrys's birthdays. We had a wonderful time. It was really great. I am a little bit under the weather, unfortunately, as you can probably hear from my voice. I'm a little bit croaky. I have got a bit of a head cold, as has Emrys, but other than that, I'm absolutely fine. I wanted to thank everybody for all of your well wishes over our birthdays. It was so appreciated. Thank you so much to anyone who reached out, who sent me a message or who commented on a post or even sent me patterns on Ravelry. It was so unexpected and so appreciated, and I felt incredibly loved. So thank you all from the very bottom of my heart. Today I do have a bit of an all over the place kind of setup on this podcast. It's not going to be the standard format. I do have quite a lot of stuff to cover and all kinds of different bits and pieces. It's what tends to happen when you take a couple of weeks off the podcast. So it is going to be a little bit different from usual, but just bear with me. As always, I will pop down timestamps for different segments in my notes down below in the drop down bar. And so you can always skip through if there's a particular section that you don't particularly want to watch this week. Before we get started with all of the amazing stuff, and I have so much to share with you this week, I'm so excited, can you tell? I do have a couple of little administrative bits and pieces just to get us started. Excitingly, first of all, I have a winner to announce, which is for the Lazy Sunday sock collection pattern book, which I showed you on my previous podcast. Thank you to everybody who entered the competition. This morning I actually locked the thread and I used random number generator to draw a winner, and it was post 173, Ivy Kerrigan, who is Sam. So yay, Sam, congratulations, you have won the copy of Lazy Sunday. Your answer to my question, which is basically what would be your perfect Lazy Sunday, was my perfect Sunday would be a cold, crisp autumn day. My hubby and I would go for a walk in the New Forest. We'd finish up with roast dinner at a pub with a good beer and a roaring fire. Then I'd spend the rest of the day snuggled up on the sofa with podcasts and my knitting. And that just sounds absolutely divine. So thank you for entering and congratulations. If you wouldn't mind popping me a personal message either on Instagram or Ravelry with your address, I'll make sure that the pattern book gets sent out to you ASAP. So yay, congratulations. And I really hope you enjoy the socks. They are beautiful. I do have a small apology to make regarding the Hollyburn sew along, which has been ongoing for the past several months on this podcast. And my apology is that I still have not managed to get the final videos up. I have a video about inserting a zip into a lined skirt and also a couple of hemming videos that are coming, but with everything that's been going on in my life recently, I just haven't had the time, and I don't want to rush these tutorials because I take them quite seriously and I want to make sure that they're very good quality for you guys. So apologies that those have not yet kind of popped up on the channel. However, what I'm going to say is I'm going to extend the date at the end of the Hollyburn sew along until all of the videos are up. So I know that I said that the closing date would be the 30th of September, but I'm going to leave it open for now. So please do still feel free to enter. Thank you to everybody who's been posting in the sew along threads. I find all of your projects absolutely beautiful. All of your help for each other very inspiring, and I've really enjoyed this whole process. Just enjoy your skirts, make more skirts. There's never such a thing as too many skirts in the world. In terms of other alongs, our newest knit along has started, which is the Colour KAL, which I am co-hosting with lovely Marsha of the Twitch and Stitch podcast. Hi Marsha! That started on October 1st and it's going to end on December 1st. So the idea is to knit anything colourwork, so we're talking FairyLittle, stranded work, intarsia, all of those good things. And whips are very much encouraged. I myself am working on a whip. We do have a thread that is now open on the Ravelry group. Thank you so much, guys, for propping up that thread when I hadn't already done it, because I'm very, very unorganized and forgetful like that. I will be drawing all of my winners from the chatter thread for the KAL, so bear that in mind. A finished object thread was opened up, but I have now removed that just because I would prefer for this one to include absolutely everybody, not just people who finish things. So yeah, if you're a little bit worried that the finished object thread has vanished, that is why. But just keep on posting in the chatter thread. It's already been getting loads and loads of traffic, and it just makes me so happy to see all of your beautiful projects. I also want to give another shout out to lovely Nathan of Sockmatician, who is also doing a colourwork KAL. His strand along is all stranded colourwork knitting. You do have to use new projects for his KAL, so if you want to double dip, then bear in mind that you have to be casting on something new, but it's going to be so much fun to see all of this colourwork stuff. So yay, double dip, have an amazing time. And you know, it's sweater weather, it's colourwork, gorgeous cardigan sweater weather at the moment, so just cast on and enjoy yourself. One more thing to mention before we get on to all of the amazing goodness of the podcast this week, and that is of course Vlogtober. I am taking part in Vlogtober, which you may or may not have noticed on this channel. I have been very busy. I've been daily vlogging every day in October so far, and I have to say I absolutely love it. Do check those out if you would like. I'm going to leave a link down below. I do have a playlist for the vlog, so you can literally just sit there and play them all through to your heart's content. But feedback has generally been really positive, so thank you for that, and that will be ongoing throughout October. Okay then, moving right along to some proper segments. I'm going to start off this week with what am I wearing? And yes, I am wearing a lovely bit of knitted goodness underneath my little pinafore dress, which is a new purchase, by the way, but I couldn't resist. The weather has really turned autumnal and cold recently in the UK, so I've been getting out all of my knitted garments, and it's just been making me so happy. I cannot even tell you. This sweater is quite an old one. This is actually the FairyLittle yoke sweater from A Stitch in Time Volume 1, which is by the incredible Susan Crawford, and I made this sweater probably 9 years ago now, so it's still going strong. I absolutely love it. I did change the colourwork quite considerably from the pattern, but I love it. It's really functional. It has these cute little short sleeves, so you don't get too hot wearing it. You can wear it indoors, and of course, look at this red and pink and blue, and there's a tiny bit of very pale blue in there as well, which is kind of not showing up too well. But I love it. It makes me very happy, and I'm super happy that the weather is kind of appropriate for me to be wearing all of these lovely knitted bits and pieces at last. So that's what am I wearing. But my next segment is a little bit different. Remember, different format for this week, but I have had a lot of requests to share this on the podcast, so I thought, why not? And that is my birthday haul. Yay! So it was my birthday last week. I turned 29, had an absolutely lovely day, and I was completely spoilt rotten by my friends and family, and it was wonderful. And I just wanted to share with you some of the bits and pieces that I got for my birthday, as some of you were, like I said, expressing interest, so hopefully you'll find this enjoyable. So the first kind of big section of my birthday presents this year is incredibly appropriate for kind of what I've been enjoying recently, and it's a big chunk of a lot of the gifts that I got, and that is all the comic books. Yes, you guys, these are all comics that I got, and I am really happy to have all of these. Emrys's parents bought me the next 3 volumes of Saga. Emrys also bought me a selection of comics. He bought me the next edition of Suicide Squad. He also got me the next 2 volumes of Harley Quinn, so volumes 2 and 3. And he also bought me The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which I am so excited to read. I mean, she's a superhero with squirrels. who isn't kind of interested in that? Also, we went to London on my birthday, as you have probably seen if you saw my birthday vlog. If not, if you just click on my hand, it'll take you straight through to that vlog. But we visited Forbidden Planet, which is an incredible sci-fi geeky store in London. I nearly went completely nuts in the comic book department because the entire basement of Forbidden Planet is graphic novels, comics, books. It's incredible. It's a book lover's dream, basically. And there were so many things that I could have bought. However, considering that I got so many comics, I thought it's a little bit redundant to buy even more because it's going to take me forever just to read these. But there was one in particular that I wanted to pick up, and that was this one, which is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This was recommended to me by lovely Candice. Hi Candice, of Pin Feathers and Pearls. We were having a lovely long chat about my recent love of all things comic book, and she recommended a couple of titles that I might enjoy, and this one, oh my goodness, it's everything that I want it to be. If you're a fan of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that's who it's based on, but it is very different from the Sabrina the Teenage Witch Melissa Joan Hart that was on the TV in the 90s. This is set in the 1960s. It's much more along the lines of Rosemary's Baby and The Omen and that kind of genre, so it's much more kind of horror than kind of just teenage girls having a good time, you know. But I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm really, really glad that I bought it. And yeah, I just can't get enough of my comic books, you guys. I love them. Probably my favourite and very much the most used present that I received for my birthday this year was an incredibly generous gift from my parents, and that is this new camera that I'm filming on. Ooh, you've probably noticed a considerable change to the quality of this video. I've been using this camera pretty much every day for Vlogtober, and oh my goodness, you guys, I adore it. It is incredible. It is the GX7 Mark II, and it has changed my life. In terms of my filming, I feel that the quality is so much better, but I'm just loving having a camera that is separate from my phone, because filming on my phone was kind of massacring my phone battery, and I don't want to have to upgrade my phone anytime soon. But I do just feel so much more professional with this beautiful camera. I could not recommend it highly enough. It is relatively expensive. Like I said, it's a very, very, very generous gift from my parents, but it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. I adore it. I was lucky enough to be given anthropology voucher from my lovely brother for my birthday, and one of the other things that I did during my day in London was we had a little visit to Anthropology on Regent Street, which is one of my favourite shops, and oh, it's so good. That one is huge. I picked up a couple of things. I got a new mug. Those of you who have watched me for a while will know that I am a very, very big fan of mugs. Another exciting purchase that I was able to make in Anthropology was something that I've been waiting to come back for a very, very long time. You guys know my obsession with all things pumpkin and pumpkin spice, and Anthropology last year did a candle that I haven't been able to get for the rest of the year. It was a pumpkin kind of spice candle, basically, and one of my main issues is that there is nothing pumpkin or pumpkin spice scented, flavoured, whatever, other than the pumpkin spice latte in the UK. We are very, very, very lacking of all things pumpkin, but this candle made my year last year. But we used it up very, very quickly, and we only ever bought the one, and it was only available kind of September, October, and then it went out of stock. When we went into Anthropology on my birthday, they had got them back in. And this is the candle. It's pumpkin souffle. It comes in this beautiful ceramic jar with a kind of gold lid, and oh my gosh, it smells amazing. It smells so good, and it smells even better when it's burning. I'm so happy that I have this back. We actually bought two. One of them's currently downstairs, partially burnt, but this is the one that we're saving. So yay, pumpkin souffle candle. Before I move on to some of the more yarny birthday things, my other recent obsession has been pops. Pops of all shapes and sizes, and I was lucky enough to get some pops for my birthday. So Emrys purchased me this little guy, This is Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time. Incredibly generously, one of my lovely viewers, Sarah, hi Sarah, who I met when I was at Fibre East, also sent me a birthday gift. And really funnily, obviously I got Rumpelstiltskin from Emrys. She got me Belle. So this is the Disney film version of Belle, but I still think it's really appropriate that I now have a Belle and a Rumpelstiltskin. So they've been sitting together on my shelf above my sewing desk. Emrys also purchased me a set of Labyrinth pops for my birthday. One of them, the Jareth one, has not arrived, but Sarah has arrived. Here she is. Isn't she adorable? I think she looks so much like Sarah in the film. She even has the little bracelet on, which is so cute. But with her also came the worm. Look at him. He's so tiny. He is, I think, my favourite pop that I've ever had. I love this little worm from Labyrinth. The last pop that I got for my birthday was another purchase that I myself made on my birthday when we went to Forbidden Planet, and I couldn't leave her behind because she is amazing. She's one of my all-time favourite characters and just made me feel incredibly Halloween-y, and that is, of course, Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, she's so cute. And look at her little cat friend. You can see him just at the bottom. And finally, I did get some yarny goodness for my birthday. This is just an expression, again, of how generous my mum is. My mum is 100% probably my biggest enabler. And when it comes to yarn, she is very, very generous. And she actually purchased me 2 sweater quantities of yarn for my birthday, and I am completely and utterly besotted with both of them. First of all, she purchased me 4 skeins of Eden Cottage yarn in their Boland DK weight, and this colour is Autumn, and oh my goodness, just look at that colour. It's incredible. It's this beautiful burnt orange colour, and it is just pumpkin central, don't you think? I absolutely love it. And I've never actually knit with Eden Cottage yarn before, so I'm really, really excited to have this and make a cardigan out of it and basically look like a giant pumpkin when it's done. The second lot of yarn that she bought me, we actually purchased on my birthday when we visited Loop, and so amazing. As you'll know if you've watched my podcast in the past, I'm a huge fan of Quince & Co Lark. It's the yarn that I used for my void shawl, and my mother, amazing as she is, bought me a sweater's quantity of Lark in the honey colourway. Now, my obsession with this colour is 100% the fault of Eric of the Sticks Plus Twine podcast, because when he actually came to London way back when we met for the first time, he was telling me about a sweater that he was making in this colour. We looked at it together in Loop when we were there, and I was obsessed with it. From that point onwards, I knew that I had to make a sweater out of this. Isn't it incredible? The amazing thing about this honey colourway is that it really changes depending on the light. So I can see here it's coming out almost as like a khaki green colour, but it goes from, it can look mustard yellow, it can look slightly more brown. It's amazing, and I am so happy to have it. Quince & Co Lark, which is 100% American wool, and I can't wait to knit this up into a sweater. I have been living in my void shawl since it got a little bit colder, so having this, a sweater in this yarn, is going to be amazing. In terms of what I'm going to be casting on with my Eden Cottage yarn and my Quince & Co, I am going to be talking about that a little bit later in the episode, so just hang fire on that for a little bit, because I am going to be sharing that with you. The last thing that I wanted to share with you in terms of my birthday haul was completely unexpected and so appreciated, and that was a gift that was sent to me by a lovely lady called Kate of Hand Dyed by Kate, and she contacted me saying that she knew that it was my birthday and that she really wanted to send me a skein of something special. And you guys, this is something special and a half. So this skein is called, can you guess, Pumpkin Spice Latte. Isn't it beautiful? It is so gorgeous. This is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, and it's perfect. I love it so much. I can't thank you enough, Kate. It is wonderful and it's so squidgy and gorgeous. This is definitely, most definitely 100% going to be a pair of the I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice socks by CC Almond of the Geeky Girls Knit podcast. So squishy, so squishy. As if that wasn't enough, I knew that that skein of yarn was going to be coming, but she also sent me some minis. So this mini selection is called Birthday Cake, which I think is amazing because you can really tell, look, icing, cake, jam, cream, cake. It's like a cake sandwich. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm pretty sure that these will become a pair of Pixel Rise socks. I think that in all of the birthday cake colours that would look so cute, and I have yet to cast on the Pixel Rise socks by Kemper Ray, and I've been very much admiring everybody else's versions of those, so I think that these will make a gorgeous pair of Pixel Rise, and they'll just be really lovely kind of birthday themed socks, which will make me really, really happy. Kate, I can't thank you enough. I really just love everything that she does. Follow her on Instagram, check out her shop because you won't be disappointed. She's really amazing. All foodie drinky things for me, you know, birthday cake and pumpkin spice latte. Who wouldn't be happy? So that was my birthday haul, you guys. I know, absolutely spoiled rotten. But for the rest of the podcast, things are going to be moved around a little bit. Usually I have what's on my needles, I have so what, I have all of my different segments kind of divided up by what I'm talking about, so be it knitting or sewing or anything like that. This week, what I've decided to do is lump together my finished objects, then my works in progress, and then I'm going to chat a little bit about future projects, which will be coming very soon. So that's how we're doing things this week. So first up, it's FO's time! And I do have finished objects to share with you, because you may or may not remember, last podcast I shared with you my Sophie cardigan, woo! And yes, it's looking a little bit worn, shall we say, because I've been living in it. I've been living in it this last week. It was ready for my birthday, which I was so excited about. This is a pattern by the incredible Jennifer Wood, and it's this beautiful cabled lace kind of work cardigan. I knit this on DK weight yarn. It's John Arbon Textiles in their Viola base, and it is the Aquarius colorway, and how gorgeous is it? So gorgeous. So it has these lovely lace panels that are across the front, hello, and also on the back as well. So I did show this to you briefly last week, but I hadn't been able to show you a shot of it in action, and I promised you that I would. I do have that coming up just momentarily, because my lovely husband was generous enough to do a little bit of filming for me again. However, I also have another finished object that is featured in the same video, and I wanted to share that with you first of all, and that is my robe bluet dress. And here she is, she's completed. Oh my goodness, you guys. I honestly think this may be my favourite dress that I have ever sewn. I'm putting it out there. I think this may be the one. This dress, it's bringing me so much happiness. It's in the same way that when you get the perfect yarn with the perfect pattern and the process has been incredible. It feels like that, but sewing for this. So this fabric, my foxgloves fabric, which is from Emrys for Make, together with this pattern, which, yes, it was kind of a bit touch and go at times, but in the end it's made the most beautiful dress, and I'm so happy with it. I've also finished it with these beautiful buttons. These are vintage buttons, vintage glass buttons that I've had for the longest time, but I never had any project to use them on. Can't even speak. But basically, I want to make 100 of these. Literally, I'm already planning another one. I want to see if at the knitting and stitching show I can maybe find some Halloween themed fabric and make a Halloween version of this dress, because who wouldn't want something like this, but with skulls or I don't know, something Halloweeny. It is incredible. I made a couple of adjustments to the pattern. Basically, I adjusted the collar. This is supposed to be a pointed collar, but I changed it into a little Peter Pan version. I did the contrasting cuffs. I know I showed those to you last time. Other than that, it's completely as the pattern says. I didn't have enough of the foxglove fabric to do the facing on the hem, so what I basically did was just use this plain black fabric that I had in my stash. I serged the edge and then I used a herringbone stitch just to stitch it very lightly onto the dress, and that finish I am in love with. I think it's incredible. In case you haven't noticed, I am 100% enamoured with this dress. I want 100 of them, but without further ado, I am going to show you what this cardigan and this dress look like in action, and I'm going to insert that here, so enjoy! Guys, I am so happy with my Sophie cardigan and my robe bluet dress. It really feels like my handmade wardrobe is coming together, because these are two garments that I've not only made myself, but I love more than anything else in my wardrobe, and that's how I want to feel about all of my handmade garments. I want to just be itching to wear them, to be excited to wear them, and after you've spent a lot of time working on something, sometimes you can kind of be a bit sick of it afterwards, but with both of these garments that's just not the case at all. I adore them and I want to wear them all the time, which I think is a really, really good place to be. But I actually have one more finished object to share with you before we go on to works in progress, and this is something that I feel that has been a little long time coming, but I'm really, really happy now it's done. Now they're done, shall I say, because for the first time in forever, sorry, Frozen reference, I finished a pair of socks. Ta-da! So these are my Jelly Roll socks, you guys, more commonly known as my Harley Quinn socks. Aren't they amazing? So I have two different socks. This yarn, the main body of the yarn, is by the incredible Danielle of Mother of Pearl, and this is the Daddy's Little Monster colourway. So the main body of the sock here is that colourway by Mother of Pearl, and Danielle also sent me the contrasting blue and red to do the detailing in these, and oh my goodness, I'm in love. She's actually selling these as kits now, so you can get a similar effect, have your own Harley Quinn socks, but this is the one that I did, the blue toe and the blue cuff with the red detailing on the rib of the foot and the heel, and on this one I did the red toe, the red cuff with the blue for the heel and the contrast detailing around the foot. As you might know from watching my podcast, I have been a little bit out of love with socks recently. I'm much more into garments, but these were so much fun to make, and I just love how fun they are. They're just so much fun with the different colours, and they're so Harley Quinn, it's not even funny. So yay, finished pair of socks. It's just made me very, very happy to finally get these off the needles, because it means that I can take them with me on holiday, maybe. So that's all the finished objects that I have this week, but let's move on to works in progress, also known as WIPs. So the first thing that I have been spending a little bit more time on for the past couple of weeks is what used to be known as my Risen cardigan. It's the Risen cardigan by Melanie Berg, but I have now renamed it as my Stormy Mondays colourway, which is after the gradient set of yarn that I am using for it. And I have made quite a dent in this since I last saw you. Here it is. So I know that it doesn't look like I've made a big dent in it, but basically, if you remember, I'm using a gradient set of yarn for this cardigan, and I am now onto the second colour in that gradient. And it's really, really difficult to tell because these two colours are so similar, but I did do a bit of striping through the yarn. You really can't tell at all. Oh well, we live and learn, but there is a bit of striping. I'm now onto the second colour, and I am just about to separate for the sleeves. So this is when the fun bit's going to happen, because obviously once I separate for the sleeves, in terms of yarn management for making sure that the gradient runs smoothly from the top to the bottom, I'm going to have 3 different balls of yarn per colour going through this cardigan, so it should be really interesting. I have taken it off the needles at the moment because I just wanted to kind of try it on, see how it was fitting before I separated for the sleeves, and it's perfect. I love this pattern. I'm a huge fan of Melanie Berg and everything that she does. Obviously she was the lovely lady who wrote the Void Shawl, which I adore, and this has just been really, really fun. It has this gorgeous textured stitch across the neckband, which is knitted as one with the body of the cardigan, and I really, really love it. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty sure that this one is going to take a back seat pretty soon because there are a couple of other projects that I have started working on, and also things that I'm wanting to cast on within the next couple of days. I know I'm very naughty, that I want to get finished soon because they're involved with things like KALs that have deadlines, whilst this is just a project for myself. So you probably won't be seeing this a huge amount in the near future. I'm really very much enjoying knitting on the Risen cardigan, but it may have to take a back seat for some other projects. Talking about one of those projects for which the Stormy Mondays cardigan will be taking a back seat, I've started again on my Bolan cardigan. So this is another pattern by Susan Crawford. You can tell I'm a big fan. She does incredible Fair Isle patterns, and this has been languishing for over a year now. I haven't touched it at all, and for our Colour KAL, I decided that it was about time that I started working on this. I picked it up the other evening. I pretty much couldn't remember at all where I was in the pattern. I didn't know what I was doing. It was on some needles that I absolutely hated, some bamboo interchangeables that I haven't used in a very long time, and they are just not the needles for me anymore. They're fine needles, but I am so used to working with my higher sharps or Knit Pro Symphonies with that beautiful like rosewood tip, that using bamboo needles was just doing my head in a little bit. So first and foremost, I swapped out my needles. But I swapped in some higher sharps, and I started picking up the pattern. As you can see, I have my little progress keeper here, my little unicorn friend. And this is all I've done so far. This was just about an hour's work in bed at the end of the day. But I have picked up the pattern again. I know exactly what I should be doing. I know exactly what my stitch count should be, and I am on the way. Let me just show you how much of this I've done so that I can put this into perspective. I have knit the entire body of this jumper, this cardigan rather. It's all stranded Fair Isle, and I haven't touched it for such a long time. And I said on one of my most recent vlogs, if I don't get this finished in this Colourwork KAL, I'm very, very tempted just to frog it entirely, just to rip it all out, because it has been sitting there not being knitted on for such a long time that I genuinely just don't think it's ever going to get finished at this point. I am enjoying working on it, the little amount that I have done so far, so I'm hoping that this will give me that last little push to get it finished and finally get it off the needles. The yarn that I'm using for this, by the way, is Exolana 4-ply, which is Susan Crawford's yarn, and it's gorgeous. It's actually spun in the John Arbon textiles mills, which I didn't realise until I saw that they were actually selling Exolana 4-ply at Fibre East at their stall. So that's a really, really nice touch. I love that it's all produced kind of in the UK. It's really, really gorgeous yarn, and it's perfect for colour work because it has a really nice kind of stickiness to it. You know, it grips itself, so it's really, really good for colour work and Fair Isle in general. and it's living in my Adelaide Cottage Florist Friends bag, which I really, really love. I have one more whip to share with you this week. This was a new cast on around about my birthday because I just wanted to cast on something new and fun, and it is the Tupshin sock from Stranded magazine. So I've made a little bit of a dent in this. So we have at the bottom a little bit of colour work with the contrast colour for the rib, and then there's this kind of lacy pattern that goes up through the sock. And I think it's really, really cute. I am enjoying working on it so far. And I'm also using my new needles that I purchased on my birthday as well. These are sock rockets, and I bought them in a super, super long length. You can see how long this cable is, because I wanted to start doing 2 at a time socks. Now, I must admit, with this lace pattern, I'm not entirely sure if I'll do 2 at a time with this, because it's a little bit beyond me, I would say, at this point. I need to do some 2 at a time vanilla socks, I'm pretty sure, and we'll see how I get on with those. But this yarn is a mixture of Exilana 4-ply, which is the red at the bottom, and it's also a Bergère de France yarn, which I have shown to you previously. It's really, really cute. It's a little bit more self-striping-y than I thought it would be. It is coming out in a pretty much a self-striping pattern, although it is quite kind of pale. It's not like in your face. But it's, yeah, I was hoping it'd be slightly more variegated than self-striping, because that's kind of how it looks in the ball. But that's fine. It's a really nice colourway for autumn, so I am really much enjoying that. So I have one more section of lovely things to share with you, and that is my future projects. So as you recall, I got some lovely sweater quantities of yarn for my birthday, and I already have incredibly solid plans as to what I'm going to do with that yarn, and I'm so excited about it. So first and foremost, my Eden Cottage yarn. You want to see it again, don't you? Let's be honest, you want to see it again. This is the autumn colourway. It is gorgeous. I'm in love with it. It's the Boland DK 100% BFL, double knit weight. It's just everything I could want and more. It's perfect. And I've already talked on Vlogtober as to what this is going to be. It is going to be a blaster cardigan. The amazing, wonderful, I'm a huge fan in case you haven't noticed, Andy Satterland released the blaster cardigan not so long ago and is actually currently doing a knit along for it. It runs until the end of October, so I better get a wig along if I actually want to take part in it. So I will definitely be casting this on within the next couple of days. This is also going to be taking part in the Pumpkin KAL, which is being hosted by the amazing Gabby and Joanna. And I've been admiring all of their gorgeous kind of pumpkin themed bits for their knit along. So I'm getting involved, guys. I've finally got my yarn. I'm gonna get this on the needles. I just finished swatching for this morning, and interestingly enough, I've actually had to go down 2 needle sizes so far, which is different from Chuck, which I also knitted. It's another one of Andy's beautiful patterns. I was entirely on gauge. The needle size was perfect, but that was with an Aran weight, worsted weight, and this is DK, but I've had to go down 2 needle sizes. But I'm really happy with my stitch definition, with how the stitches look on the smaller needles, and I'm 100% ready to cast on. I love this yarn. Other news regarding Andy Satterland, very quickly. I did talk about in my previous episode about doing an Andy Satterlong. Everybody seems very keen, super keen, and that makes me really happy. However, I have decided to wait until the new year to do that knit along. So I'm not going to be talking about it between now and then, but just bear in mind, I am going to be knitting this now, but I'll be knitting a completely different thing for the Andy Satterlong, but that will be in January. So maybe start thinking about what you'd want to do, maybe asking for some yarn for a Christmas present so you can knit one of her incredible sweaters or cardigans. But yes, it is coming, so that's going to be a really nice treat for us all in the new year to spoil ourselves with a gorgeous Andy Satterland garment. So the other yarn that I have big plans for is, of course, my Quinton Colark. Isn't it amazing? It's the best. It's beautiful. The honey colourway, and I have had this project in my queue for the longest time. I can't wait to to cast this on. These are going to be a wickerwork pullover, and like I said, I've had this sweater in my favorites for the longest time. I absolutely love the pattern. As you can see, it's kind of this cabled wicker kind of pattern, textured pattern on the body, but then the sleeves are very plain. But to me, it just looks like a beehive, and obviously I love the bees. So this was a bit of a no-brainer for me to use the honey colorway for a kind of beehive sweater. And I've been thinking about this for a very, very long time. Like I said, the most recent episode of Handmade and Woolen with lovely Jenny and Devon, Jenny showed off her wickerwork pullover, which she's apparently been wearing all the time. And it looks incredible. So that was literally just the last little push that I needed to cast on this sweater as well. So Jenny, thank you for the inspiration. Your sweater is so stunning. I cannot wait to cast on mine. This one, I will probably be waiting a little while before I cast it on, because like I said, I want to get the blaster on the needles, and I want to get working on that because of the KALs that it's involved in. Don't have a KAL for this little guy, so this is just for me, but it would be a really, really lovely thing to have maybe as a Christmas sweater. You know, maybe I'll be able to get that done before Christmas, you never know. But I love this yarn. I'm so excited to use it, and like I said, I'm going to have a wardrobe full of knitted garments, and I have never been happier. Okay guys, staying true to the slightly all over the place format of this podcast, I have decided that instead of a general waffle at the end of my podcast, as I usually do, what I'm going to do is include an extra special segment at the end of this week's podcast, which is all about the knitting and stitching show. Today is Friday, and I'm not going to the knitting and stitching show till Sunday, but I'll be able to add that footage in at the end, and then this will all be ready for my usual uploading time on a Monday. So I really hope you enjoy everything that I'm going to show you now about the knitting and stitching show. It's, I'm sure, going to be a wonderful time, and yeah, I will see you in the future. Ooh. Hi guys! So I am Katie in the future from the rest of the podcast. It's actually Sunday the 9th now. I have just got back from being at the knitting and stitching show with my mum. We had such a lovely time. It's really funny actually, because the knitting and stitching show is the first ever kind of yarn and sewing festival that I ever went to, kind of show that I went to, and that was this time last year. So it feels like we've come full circle in my kind of yarny journey that started recently. But yeah, it was really good fun. In case you don't know, the knitting and stitching show happens twice a year in London. There is a kind of autumn winter version and a spring summer one. I always tend to go to the autumn winter one because it's at Alexandra Palace, which is considerably easier for me to get to than the one that's in, I believe it's in Olympia, the one in spring and summer. Alexandra Palace is a huge building, and so it has 3 large rooms that are all filled with vendors. So there are hundreds of vendors, I think. I might be over exaggerating a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that there are hundreds of them. It was very busy, I'm not going to lie. We went on the last day. I think it's been going since Thursday, and I was surprised at how busy it was. Usually kind of on the last day things have chilled out a little bit more, but it was heaving, and we got there relatively early when it started. So it started at 10 o'clock, and I believe we got there at 10:30. What we always do is do a big loop of the whole show, which is what we did. We walked around all of the different stalls in all of the different rooms. I then used my floor plan, which I have here, and what I tend to do is circle the stalls that I'm interested in. So you can see I've made a couple of notes on here, and we then do a second loop, and that's when we make purchases. That worked out relatively well. I say we were a little bit naughty. We did buy a couple of things on the first loop round, and also I did end up missing out on some fabric, which was a little bit sad. I was sad about that, which basically all sold out by the time I got around on my second loop, so that can happen. But in general, it was a really good time. I feel that I didn't enjoy it as much as I did last year. And I was trying to work out whether or not it was because the show was different this year, or whether or not it is because I've been to so many other different shows in the past year. And to be honest, I think it lacks the personal touch that some of the other shows that I went to have had. So for example, Fibre East, which I adored, felt so personal, and just lots of smaller vendors, lots more kind of indie products, whilst the Knitting and Stitching show does feel, obviously it's small vendors still, but it felt slightly less personal. It was still a really, really good time, and the weather was beautiful as well. It was so nice. It rained a little bit on our journey home, but other than that, the weather was perfect. So it was a really, 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 really fun day out. There were so many stalls that I was interested in. I made sure before I went to the show that I had a really set idea as to exactly what I wanted to buy, if anything. And I made a decision pretty much straight away that I wasn't going to buy yarn on this trip. I know, shock horror. Mostly that's because I am going to be going to some specific fibre festivals in the near future. Plus, I just got a huge amount of goodies in terms of yarn for my birthday, so I was focusing much more on fabrics and that type of thing in this trip, and I had some specific projects that I was buying for, and so that kept me very focused, because the only problem about having as many vendors as the Knitting and Stitching show has is that you get a bit overwhelmed. So I was quite glad to have that focus, because I was looking for specific things and therefore wasn't being distracted. So I think I'm just going to jump into it and show you some of the things that we bought. Now, the first purchase that we made was something that I wasn't expecting to be able to buy at the Knitting and Stitching show, and I am so glad that I did. And that is a gleaner. Okay, so for all of my viewers who are in particular from Canada and from the States, you're going to know all about the gleaner. Okay, so the gleaner is a tool that is used for kind of de-pilling anything, well, anything really. From the demonstration, I can see that it can be used on knit garments, it can be used on upholstery, it can even be used on t-shirts if they start getting a little bit bobbly, and it is a tool which helps you to do that. My understanding of the kind of technical side of it a little bit is that you get pilling on, in particular, woolen garments if the fibres are short. That's what encourages them to kind of pill up and kind of bobble when you wear them. And so cutting the bobbles off of things is often the worst thing that you can possibly do, because you're just shortening the fibres even more, which is therefore encouraging them to pill even more so than they were before you cut all the bobbles off. The idea behind the gleaner is that it brushes the bobbles off, but it doesn't damage the fibres, so it gets rid of the pills, but it doesn't damage the garment. So this is my gleaner. Isn't it amazing? So yeah, this is the gleaner. This is the gleaner. Da, 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 da. And it has several attachments that pop on and off just like this. And they can be used to, oh, it's all dusty. It's because I was using it downstairs on our sofa. But the idea is that you have different attachments for different fibre contents and different thicknesses of yarn, stuff like that. But this, I actually, as soon as I got home, started using it. I tried it out on our sofa, which is in a right state, and it was incredible. You guys, I can't even tell you how amazing this is. One of the reasons that I'm so excited about getting this is that this hasn't been available in the UK until literally just the last month or so, I believe. The lady at the Gleaner stand in the Knitting and Stitching show said that they've just struck a deal with Lakeland. So they now are available in the UK, which is very exciting. But we were able to get this one early and also at a slight discount from how they will be retailing in the Lakeland shop. So everybody in the UK, if you can get your hands on one of these now, you really, really should. I can't tell you how amazing this has been on my sofa. I'm going to try and insert a little clip here so that you can kind of see the before and after of what my sofa looked like. This is the part that I've just done a little bit. and this is what it was like. So that's what it was like. That's what it's like now. This thing's amazing. Look at that. Before, after. Before, after. I think that is incredible. But it's really changed my life, and I've wanted to get hold of one of these for a long time, just because so many people say that they're incredible. I am not sponsored by Gleaner in any way, by the way. I'm just super, super excited to finally get my hands on one of these. One thing specifically that I had my eye on to pick up when I was at the Knitting and Stitching show was some more knitting needles, and that is because, as you know, I'm going to be going on holiday very soon. It's less than 2 weeks before we go now, so it's like crazy. But I specifically wanted to get some wooden interchangeable needles to take with me on the plane, because I wanted to make sure that if there were any problems at all with me taking these needles on the plane, and I've looked up, and as far as I can see, taking these wooden needles on a circular cable, it doesn't appear to be a problem. So I have been doing my research, guys, don't worry. But I wanted to make sure, just in case, that I got some interchangeables, just so that I could remove them from the cable and not lose my knitting and that type of thing. So I'm being extra prepared just in case, because I want to make sure my knitting is fine. So I picked up some Knit Pro Symphonies, again, wooden needles. I didn't want to take metal onto the plane, and a cable for that, which has the cable stops included. And the great thing about the Knitting and Stitching show is that there are a lot of stalls that sell every kind of knitting needle under the sun, and they are at considerably discounted rates than if you buy them in the shops. So these were not very expensive at all, and I am going to be using these for my wickerwork pullover, which is going to be the project that I want to take away with me on the plane, because I just think that all those cables will kind of lull me into a happy place when I'm a little bit nervous for being on the actual plane. So there was one more stall that I made some purchases at, and these are particularly exciting. I'm really excited about these. I can't even pretend to you. I knew that I would want to keep my eyes open for some Halloween fabric. As you can see, I'm actually wearing my robe bluet dress, my foxy lady dress. There's my little foxes under there, and you all know how much I love this dress. I've worn it so many times already in the month of October. It's quite hilarious how much I want to wear this dress. So I knew that I wanted to make another, and I particularly wanted to make one Halloween themed if I could, in the next 2 weeks, for me to be able to take away on holiday. I know, I set ridiculous goals for myself. But I was looking around all of the different stalls, and there were a lot of really lovely fabrics, but pretty much nothing Halloween themed. And I was really disappointed, because I was just dying to have something a little bit, you know, themed to be able to wear on Halloween. And then I stopped by the stall for fabrics at Fleetwood, and this is their details. That's the shop there. And they're actually based in Lancashire in the UK. And they have a website as well, so fantastic. Good UK-based fabric shop. And they had a huge selection of different fabrics, including lots of really cute, kind of kitschy things that we don't usually get in the UK. So that included a lot of the themed fabrics, like they had Walking Dead fabric, they had Doctor Who fabric, they had Star Trek fabric. I could have gone crazy. I really could. But I saw this fabric, and I couldn't not get it, you guys, because look, this is my Halloween print fabric, which I'm going to make another robe bluet out of. Isn't it insane? It has a grey background with black and red and white as the feature colours, and it has all these cool characters. So it has this lady and this vampire, it has this werewolf kind of character, it has a cat and cauldrons and castles, and I love it. I love it so much. I'm so happy. And I want to make another robe bluet dress, like I said, but I want to make it with black collar and cuffs, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I'm going to get this washed tonight so that I can get it cut out, hopefully within the next couple of days, and then I'm going to sew it like a mad woman, because I have to have it for our holiday. It's not even a question. I just have to have it. I love it. But when I was actually going to pay for this fabric, I noticed that they had this huge selection along where their kind of counter area was of fat quarters. And I don't usually buy fat quarters because I find that they're more designed for people who do a lot of quilting rather than people who make garments, which is basically what I buy my fabric for. It's primarily garment making, and you can't really make a garment out of a fat quarter. But I thought, I don't have any Halloween themed project bags at all. And there right in front of me were some of the most incredible, creepy, spooky fabrics that I've ever seen. So I bought 2 fat quarters as well. And I love these, you guys, because they are both based on vintage horror movie posters. So this is the first one. So if you can see, there's the vampire, there's the glob, contamination, zombie master. It's just ridiculously kitsch and camp, and I love it. So that was the first one. The second one, I have to say, is probably my all-time favourite. I'm so excited about turning this into a project bag. So again, we have all of our characters, but we have Frankenstein's monster, we've got Wolfman on there, we've got Dracula, we've got the mummy. It's amazing. Look at it, look at Dracula and his lovely lady. But I love this. I'm going to make a couple of project bags, and I think they will end up being kind of sweater size project bags. I think I'll be able to get out of these. I love this fabric. I'm really, really excited about it, and I'm also really excited to know about fabrics at Fleetwood now, because if I ever need fabric like this, I'm going to head over to their website and I'm going to, you know, treat myself to some lovely bits and pieces. So yeah, guys, that is everything that I bought at the Knitting and Stitching show today. It was really, really amazing. I had such a good time, and I would definitely recommend it as a really fun show to go to. So maybe next year, head on over if you haven't already. But that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for bearing with the slightly all over the place style that I've done this week. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date as to when I'm uploading new videos. There is a huge amount of content going onto this channel at the moment because of Vlogtober. So yeah, there's never been a better time to subscribe and have all of those lovely daily vlogs coming your way. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, your support and the love that you show me every week and every time I upload a new video means everything to me. So you're just awesome, and thank you, thank you, thank you so much. You make me incredibly happy, and I hope that I can send a little bit of that happiness back your way. All that's left for me to say is that I hope you all have an incredible week. I love you all. Happy sewing, happy knitting, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Whoa,